Of course, this year's hot fashion news was the arrival of hot pants.
I'm told that to be in the height of trendy fashion these days, you've got to wear shoes like these.
Oh, God, you look good. Yes, you look good. Now you got your sandals.
The fashion trends we'd rather forget. Fashion is a reflection of its time. It tells you what people valued, what they found beautiful, what they thought was cool, and what they believed other people would find cool when they saw them walking down the street in it. And then there is 1970s fashion, which tells you that an entire decade of otherwise intelligent human beings looked at each other wearing flared trousers wide enough to shelter a small family, platform shoes that required genuine balance training, and ties the width of a kitchen chopping board, and collectively decided that this was fine, that this was good actually, that this was the look. I'm Reto. And today we are going through the fashion trends of the 1970s that we would all very much rather forget. Some of them you wore yourself. You know who you are. And you have my complete sympathy. Trend 1. The flares.
When the sun goes down and the evening rolls around, that's the time I find.
Let us begin with the flares. Bell-bottom trousers, flared trousers, whatever you called them in your household, the concept was the same. Trousers that fit normally from the waist to the knee, and then suddenly made a very dramatic decision about their future, and exploded outward in a wide, triangular shape that covered your shoes entirely and dragged along the floor behind. You like a very committed wedding dress that had taken a wrong turn somewhere near the ankle. The standard bell-bottom had a leg opening of approximately 18 inches in circumference at the bottom. 18 inches. That is wider than most people's shoulders. The more extreme variant, known as elephant bells, was even wider and specifically designed to cover the wearer's shoes completely, which raises the question of why you bothered wearing shoes at all, given that nobody could see them. These trousers were originally worn by sailors in the 19th century because the wide leg could be rolled up easily when working on wet decks. Nobody working at a British office in 1974 needed to roll their trouser legs up. They wore them anyway, because Sonny and Cher wore them on television, and that was sufficient justification for the entire country. Trend 2. Platform shoes. The natural companion to the flares was the platform shoe, because if you were going to wear trousers that covered your feet entirely, you needed shoes tall enough that the hem of the trousers did not drag along the ground and collect everything the pavement had to offer. The solution the 1970s arrived at was to simply make the shoe taller, much taller. The standard platform shoe had a sole of at least 2 inches. Some went to 4. The most committed examples reached 6 inches off the ground. 6-inch platform shoes, worn on normal streets, by normal people, going to normal places like the supermarket and the post office and their place of employment. The effect on the wearer's gait was described at the time as elegant and glamorous. The effect on the wearer's gait was actually a kind of cautious rocking motion that resembled someone who had recently learned to walk and was not yet fully confident about it. Falls were common. Ankle injuries were documented. Nobody stopped wearing them. Fashion waits for no ankle. Trend 3. The kipper tie.
Today, Wembley Neckwear asked the question, why do you wear Wembley ties?
My wife knows. It's my favorite present.
While the lower half of the 1970s man was busy being as wide as possible, the upper half was keeping pace through the medium of the kipper tie. The kipper tie was a necktie so wide at the bottom that it became genuinely difficult to describe it as a tie without feeling you were being generous. Standard ties of today measure approximately 3 inches at their widest point. The kipper tie of the 1970s regularly reached 5 inches. Some examples were wider than the shirt collar they were supposed to sit beneath. They were made in the loudest possible fabrics, paisley patterns, floral prints, colors that had no business being on any item of clothing worn to a professional environment. The kipper tie got its name from the shape of a kipper, which is to say that someone in the fashion industry looked at a smoked fish and thought that was what the business world needed more of around its neck. And everyone agreed. And then they went and bought one in orange paisley and wore it to the office every Tuesday for 3 years. Trend 4. The leisure suit. The leisure suit arrived in the mid-1970s and represented fashion's sincere attempt to create a garment that could be worn both to work and to a disco, and was equally appropriate for neither. It was a matching jacket and trouser combination made from polyester in colors that polyester had no business being: powder blue, burnt orange, mustard yellow. Occasionally, all three in a pattern that appeared to have been designed by someone who had recently consumed something inadvisable and decided to express themselves through fabric. The leisure suit was worn without a tie. The collar was large. The trousers were flared. The jacket had wide lapels that extended almost to the shoulder seam and served no functional purpose, other than to increase the amount of the suit that was visible from a significant distance. John Travolta wore a white version in Saturday Night Fever in 1977 and looked genuinely extraordinary in it. The rest of the population wore theirs in polyester and looked like they had found it in a car boot sale and decided it was close enough. The difference between John Travolta in a white disco suit and your Uncle Derek in a mustard yellow leisure suit is vast and cannot be adequately described in words. Trend 5 Hot Pants. In the early 1970s, the hot pant arrived. Hot pants were extremely short shorts worn as an outer garment in public by women who had decided that the miniskirt of the previous decade had not gone far enough in terms of brevity, and that additional reduction was both possible and desirable. They were worn in bold colors and bold fabrics: satin, velvet, denim, covered in embroidery, and they were worn everywhere, to work, to the shops. On the high street on a Tuesday in November in Britain, where the average temperature in November does not naturally suggest shorts as the obvious clothing choice, the British weather did not deter the hot pant. The hot pant had committed to its position and was not interested in atmospheric conditions. Trend 6. The perm. Fashion in the 1970s was not limited to clothing. The hair was equally ambitious. The perm was a chemical process that transformed straight hair into tight curls through the application of chemicals that smelled strongly enough to clear a small room and required several hours of sitting with rods wound through your hair while the transformation took place. The result was a head of tight uniform curls that required significant maintenance and could, in extreme cases, be used to shelter small objects during a light shower. Men got perms. Women got perms. Children were taken to salons by parents who felt their straight hair was not pulling its weight aesthetically and came out looking like they had been electrified. The perm was so popular that at its peak in the late 1970s, it was estimated that 20% of British women were wearing one at any given time. The smell of the chemicals used in a 1970s perm salon was such that windows were required to be kept open regardless of weather. This was not considered a health and safety issue. It was considered Tuesday at the hairdresser, and those are the fashion trends of the 1970s that we would all very much rather forget. The flares, the platforms, the kipper ties, the leisure suits, the hot pants, the perms, the jumpsuits, each one completely sincere, each one worn with genuine confidence by people who believed absolutely in what they were doing. And that, honestly, is the most 1970s thing about all of it. They committed, completely and entirely. Nobody was doing any of this ironically. Which trend are you most relieved is no longer mandatory? Tell us in the comments, and share this with someone who still has photographic evidence of their 1970s wardrobe that they have never shown anyone. Like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a rewind. I'm Reto, and this has been your Rewind.